what's up? I'm the Doom here, doing another video for you guys, and this time it's going to be a continuation from the last video. These are going to be sets from the year 2012 and 2013. But before I talk about that, I wanted to bring up that in the previous video, I didn't mention this because it's not on the Mega Construx website, but this is the Versus Battle Pack, so you would get two different packs. You would get either an ODST with an Elite or an Elite with a Marine. It would depend on whatever you get. It's basically a mystery pack lineup, and I never found this in the stores. I didn't even know where to get it. I thought it was Target, but I guess my Targets never had it, so it was kind of a weird thing. Apparently this was a limited edition exclusive thing, and yeah, just never found it in my stores. Don't know what happened to it. Anyways, let's take a look at the actual sets themselves. So I'm going to start off with trying to find the exact tab and page. The Covenant Drop Pod. This is going to be the Elite Ultra, and this is a nice looking set. I could have gotten another Acidic Elite, although I already got one in silver, but the Elite Ultra does look pretty good, especially with that energy sword you can see inside the drop pod. Very nice. We also have the Flood Pod with the Elite Combat form. This was something that you could use to convert into a normal Elite, which was an awesome gimmick, and also included a spare Flood piece, so that's very nice. It was just a very different thing to get, and I feel like they could have released more of these, and it would have been no problem. I mean, we've got the Elite form, we also have the Marine form that you can swap between a Flood and a normal figure, so that would have been a nice opportunity to get, but still, I'm not going to complain too much about it. There's also the Battlescape 2. This was the only Battlescape that I was never able to get. Although I did find it in one store, it was somewhere else when I was vacationing somewhere. So I didn't pick it up because we weren't trying to get too many big things. And it was a big size box, so it just would have been a problem. But still, though, it would have been nice to get this set. Anyways, moving on, we also have the Crimson Covenant Combat Unit. This would have been super awesome to get because you have the opportunity to swap out with the Flight Elite, and this was the first time to get an Honor Guard Elite, and that was pretty awesome. Now, we do have a new articulated version of the Honor Guard Elite, but still would have been nice to get at that time. You got a couple of good grunts. I believe this was the first time we got the Spec Ops grunt in some of these sets for this wave, and yeah, even that Combat Elite was pretty cool. Moving right along, we also have the Desert Combat Unit. Now, I really wanted to get this set because I believe that was the first one that came with a Scout. Eventually, we did get more Scouts, but it is a pretty awesome set, and even that EVA or the CQC is nice. But the Marines were pretty awesome too. I love that Desert Camo. I believe they were just introducing this with the Covenant Strike was the set name? I forget. The one that came with the Troop Transport Warthog in green, along with a bunch of Covenant figures, but still, it would have been nice to get an add-on to that set. Moving on, we also have the Unsc Cobalt Combat Unit. This is the only one from that particular wave that I didn't get, because I did get the Silver Combat Unit for the Covenant, and this would have been nice to get. They reduced the armor sets down to 2 instead of just 3. So that was a little unfortunate, but still, it would have been nice to get, especially when I was into Red vs. Blue at the time, so getting that Spartan and Cobalt would have been nice. Eventually, they released the 20th, or not 20th anniversary, but that Spartan pack, so yeah, I didn't really need it, but it would have been nice to get. Also, it's kind of cool that we also had a Marine replaced with another Spartan, which was the CQC, so you pretty much had the armor sets. Anyways, moving on, we also had a Covenant Drop Pod. This is the Elite General. This is the first time we've got the Elite General in any set, I believe. I might be mistaken on that. But this one used a white color, and yeah, that was pretty cool. The main thing I liked about the set was the drop pod. I think that crimson color just looks very nice, or maybe it was like a plum color. I also regret not getting the Recon Specialist because this was a different ODST. This was the first one to come with a Recon helmet instead of the normal ones. At least I think it's Recon, if I'm not mistaken. Man, all the names are starting to become a blur, but yeah, this was a nice set. It was more or less like a stealth set because stealth was kind of a color going around, or I know that's not particularly a color. It was more like a steel color, if that made any sense. I feel like some of the older collectors will know what I'm talking about. Anyways, moving on, we also have the Covert Ops. Covert Ops was what I was talking about, not stealth. But Covert Ops Battle Unit, I remember seeing this in stores, and this was a nice looking set. I think the Covert Ops definitely suited those Marines, and the Spartan alone was pretty cool. The ODST wasn't really that unique. We had a Covert Ops ODST in one of the drop pods, but still, it's a nice looking pack, and that bubble shield does look good in gray, and I also just bumped into my camera. That was a disaster. We also have the Covert Ops Unsc Wolverine. This was a cool set to get because it was an update to the original Wolverine. We had two versions before it, and they were pretty much the same. I believe this was the first one to actually change it up, although it didn't really do too many differences. It was still very nice with the rockets, and the color scheme was pretty good. Didn't come with a bad guy to battle with it, just came with the Has Up, but still, it was a very nice set to get. And then the Flood Siege was also continuing in that line. We had this nice looking, almost like a railgun turret, and it was a very cool base setup because you could do whatever you want with it. You could see all the ramps leading on to the different sections of the set. And man, this was the set that I really wanted out of the Covert Ops line. But yeah, I never got it, especially for the orange combat elites being the Flood infected form. I thought that was awesome to look at. And also the choice of figures was pretty cool, so reach was becoming a big deal. So we had the Air Assault and the Grenadier in that copper and red color scheme, or the Covert Ops and red color scheme. So yeah, very nice set. Moving on, we have the Snowbound Unsc Rocket Hog. So this was just the Rocket Hog with blue and red figures instead of the typical ones, and I believe that some people were able to get the set with the white and dark blue figures anyways. It was like they just repacked the entire set and had added a special bag with the blue and red figures. So it was definitely a weird thing. I was very much against the set, mostly because it just seemed like a cheap repack of something that we already had. But now I kind of regret it because I like getting Halo sets, and I don't really care if I get repacks with just slight changes, because, you know, you get some pretty awesome repaints, and I do like the original Rocket Hog. It was a very nice nostalgic set for me. So yeah, kind of regret not getting this. We also have the Versus Snowbound combat unit, and this one didn't really fascinate me because they were trying to move on to the new combat unit style, and I just don't like that base plate. I do like the blue and red bricks, but it just seemed kind of cheap. It seemed like just something that someone scrapped together, especially the Snowbound Battle Unit logo. That seems so unimaginative. That is something I can make in paint easily, alone, in like a minute. It was just such a boring looking base plate, but the figures look pretty cool. You got two different combat elites in blue and red, and then a Spartan and a CQC in opposite colors. It was just a very nice set to get when you're looking at the figures, not the base plate. Moving on to the bigger sets, I missed out on the Unsc Rhino, and I'm not really entirely sure why I missed out on it. It was available in a couple of different places, but yeah, I just never jumped on it, and it's kind of weird to me that I didn't. So I like the Forerunner structure. I think that's pretty cool, but the Rhino itself, the more I look at it, the more I regret not buying it. It's a nice big looking vehicle, and you know, the first set that I ever got was the Unsc Scorpion, so I kind of wish I got this. It just seemed kind of fun, especially with that red Scout. That looks kind of cool. And then we've got the Forward Unto Dawn. Of course, I really wanted this set because it's such a iconic piece to Mega Bloks and Halo and its history. You know, a lot of people wanted this set, especially. It was a little too big for me, especially with something that I felt was going to be kind of like a centerpiece that didn't really have too many play features. I don't think it had that much room to really work with. It did have a nice gimmick of separating, much like how it does in the game trailer and the intro to Halo 4, but it wasn't something that I felt I needed to get. With the price tag, just felt like a little too much at the time. And also I was into some other sets, some of the smaller ones that I felt were a little more fun for me. But still, you know, it's a nice looking display stand set, and I regret not getting it. It would have been nice to get the set. Anyways, moving on, we have the UNSC Ammo Pack 1, and I believe that this was also re-released with the new articulation, or was that the second one? I believe that was the second one, actually. But yeah, this one was, you know, a predecessor to the weapons packs, and, you know, of course it came with a bunch of different weapons. It also came with a couple of grenades, and that UNSC Marine does look pretty awesome. I really wanted the cone because I never got that. It took me about 10 years to finally get that cone piece because I believe it came out in that flood set we talked about beforehand in the previous video. But yeah, it's just a nice looking set that I would have loved to get. Moving on is the UNSC Weapons Pack, and this one came with the Tan Spartan, and the reason why I regret not picking this up is because you could rebuild this with 2 of the other weapons packs from the Covenant and Forerunner to make a much larger weapons pack, and I always wanted to get that, but for some reason I just couldn't jump on the UNSC weapons pack. I think the reason why is because I felt like I would have to buy every single one of these, and I like to buy things one at a time, and by the time I thought, okay, I'm just gonna buy the entire thing, they moved on with the set and they released the follow-up weapons pack or ammo pack, and they took this out, and that was kind of unfortunate, but it's still a cool looking set, and would love to get that Tan Spartan. I thought that was nice. Moving on is the Blue Series ODST pack. Now, funny enough, I have the rarest thing in this entire pack. I don't have the set, so would love to get the rest of it at the very least, but I have the ODST because I bought that on itself in a bulk bin of Mega Bloks Halo figures. So I have the ODST, I just don't have the remainder of the set. So would have been nice to get, but it comes with a sniper rifle, comes with an SMG, you also have that grenade launcher. Very cool looking stuff. I love the blue flag in it too. So yeah, here's hoping that someday I can get the rest of it. Moving on, we have the Blue Series Elite Pack. This would have been so awesome to get. You get that smaller version of the barrier, which does look pretty cool. You get a nice little display stand for the weapons, and that blue Honor Guard Elite. Oh, that looks so good. Man, they need to make another one in blue with the new articulation, because that does look very nice, especially to counter the red that's already been previously released. You know, that would be kind of cool. But yeah, pretty good weapons. I don't think this actually released out here, which was the big problem, but yeah, would be nice to get. The Blue Series Rocket Hog is another set that I would love to get. I like this color for the Warthog. I don't think they even used it for another Warthog up to now, so it would be cool to get, especially with the rocket turret. I think that's nice, and the choice of figures is good too. I like that Air Assault and the Mark 5B in blue. I think that looks very nice. The Blue Series Falcon was also kind of cool because it was a different color for the Falcon. Yeah, it's very nice. I love the Falcon. It's one of my favorite sets to date. So I would love to get a blue version of that. Anyways, moving on, we also have a collector's edition pack, and this was just a set of different figures. I have one of the Commandos, but that's it. I would love to get the rest of the set because those gold figures does look very nice. I do like that Elite General, and yeah, just a pretty good setup of figures. And then we also have the Microfleet Warthog Attack. I'm not a big fan of these Microfleet sets. I think it's just too much for a set like this. But I do like the Forerunner structure. I think that does look pretty good. And the Warthog has a very nice, interesting build. I know that because I built something similar from the, what's the set called? It's the Halo Infinite, the building pack. The building box, that's what it was called, yeah. I knew I remember the name at some point. Anyways, the Microfleet Hornet Assault. So this was pretty cool because it came with a red figure, it came with a red helmet, and while the Hornet wasn't red, it's more or less a reference to the Red Hornet set, so that was pretty cool. Very nice looking set. I do like that build for the Hornet itself, but again, it's another one of those Microfleet sets. I don't really need them. Anyways, we have the UNSC Attack Cyclops. This was more of the covert lineup, and it came with a couple of turrets on the shoulders. These Cyclops were pretty cool. I only have one of them because I just happened to pick up one, but that Marine does look pretty cool, especially with the sniper, and the color scheme is very nice. We have the Jungle Strike UNSC Cyclops, and this was a green, more or less a basic version of the Cyclops, but that Marine does look pretty cool, and the green color looks nice. The weapon is somewhat generic, I guess, but you know, it's a nicely suited version of the Cyclops. And then we have the Desert Strike Cyclops. I wanted that color for the Marine. I don't know why. It's been seen in multiple sets, but I never got it. And yeah, it's more or less similar to the Jungle Strike. In fact, the weapon seems to be the same build, but it's just in tan, which, again, no complaints here. Then we have the Brute Battle Unit. I never got this, despite the fact that I really wanted that Security Spartan. Now, eventually I did get that mold. I got it in blue and yellow, but still would have been nice to get, especially that Brute Chieftain with the blue. That looks pretty cool. The UNSC Pelican Gunship. I could have got this for $40 at a toy fair, but I didn't because I didn't want to get it without the figures, and then I thought, you know what, might as well just get it, and I turned around, went to go get it, and someone bought it. Yeah, so that's unfortunate, but it's an interesting looking set. It's not really my favorite version of the Pelican, but it does look alright, and it does have a couple of nice features. I believe you could also suit it up with another vehicle. I think the Warthog at the time you can plug into this. I could be mistaken on that. I think that was the gimmick. I'm not 100% sure, but it does look alright, especially the gold on these intakes. That looked very cool. And we also have the Flood Hunters UNSC Falcon. So, yeah, this was just more of a steel-esque version of the Falcon that we already got, and it came with a bunch of different Flood figures, which was cool, but the reason why I didn't jump on this is because it's just more of a bluish silver tint to the original Falcon that we already got, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just not super exciting to me, so that's why I never bought it. But nowadays I'm thinking, yeah, I probably should have got it. So that is pretty much it. I thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and all those fun dudettes, and I will see you guys